All right, let's get to a labor showdown we've been tracking in British Columbia. And a big rally is planned in Victoria today outside of the provincial legislature. A strike by thousands of BC's public sector workers entering its sixth week. Here's more from the union president.
Government needs to find that reasonable middle ground. And so far, I think that's eluded them. They have not sought that out. We haven't seen a sincere desire to go there. And so we just need government really to shift its attitude and its thinking.
The first strike took place 6 weeks ago and has now become a province-wide. The rally is expected to be the largest since the strike started, and it's taking place just as the fall session of the legislature is set to begin, and that's where we find CTV's Rob Buffum, who's standing by on the beautiful grounds of the Ledge in Victoria. Hey, Rob, good to see you. The latest, what's happening where you are?
Well, Todd, as you say, we're outside the BC Legislature on what is a very sunny day. It's the first day of the fall sitting. It's been months since politicians gathered inside here, and there's a group expected to be about 10,000 strong of striking public sector workers, joined in solidarity by members of other unions, making their way from Victoria City Hall about a kilometre away down through the Inner Harbour here to the grounds of the legislature. They're having speeches at 12 o'clock, and as I say, there are expected to be about 10,000 of them trying to catch the attention and the ear of this NDP government, traditionally very supportive of unions, but they've come to an impasse here. As you mentioned earlier, this is the sixth week of this strike. They met briefly last Monday, and there was high optimism that there would be a deal reached, but it ended with both sides, particularly the union, very frustrated. They said they were insulted by the offer of the government at that time. The union is seeking, the primary issue here is wages. The union is seeking 8% now over 2 years as a raise. The government has responded as of last Monday with 5%, so they're still a ways apart. And, you know, it's one of those things where the government is battling an $11 billion, a record deficit of their own making in the last few years. So they say money is very tight. The union says, well, look, that's not our doing, that's not our fault. And inflation is a big issue. Compounding or making the situation, I suppose, extra tricky is the fact that there are other public sector unions up to renegotiate their contracts, both the teachers and the unions. The teachers and the nurses, I should say. So that could add some pressure on these negotiations. The government, on the other hand, has a bit of leeway because while you would expect they'd want to avoid, bad blood with the union, they've got a bit of breathing room because here on the first day of the sitting, the official opposition, the Conservatives, are sort of crumbling. There's been calls for their leader, John Rustad, to step down, so they don't have the same kind of strength, and that reduces some of the leverage that the union would otherwise have. You can hear over my shoulder, Todd, they're making their way down here, so I think in a matter of the next 15 or so minutes, we're going to have thousands of people making their voices known for the labor movement.
What sort of impact is it having, Rob, on people in BC now that we're in the sixth week of this strike, how they're starting to see it? The longer it goes on, the bigger impact it has.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, they started sort of modestly, primarily picketing around different government offices, mostly in Victoria, somewhat in Vancouver. They picketed an insurance, the ICBC station in Surrey. It was primarily those areas, but it's expanded. About 2 weeks ago, they expanded to government liquor stores and a government warehouse, and that's been the biggest sort of pinch point. That's been the thing that's had the biggest impact on the public. It's affected restaurants, bars, wine importers, and the public going to restaurants or liquor stores. So that's been the most significant thing. As I mentioned, they've also been striking and picketing outside of government buildings. So those are the two things. But in speaking to Paul Finch, the gentleman you had on the air a moment ago there, he said they will escalate this job action if they don't get what they consider to be a fair deal in the coming days. So I think we can expect this to expand probably by the end of this week if there's not some kind of fair deal higher than the 5% that's been offered. And if it does expand, that's when I think the public is going to start experiencing these effects beyond liquor stores and cannabis stores.
Robert Buffum joining us live from Victoria, just outside of the BC Legislature. Big rally planned there by the striking members of the union. Good to see you, Rob. Thanks so much for this today.